What's happening, people? I hope you're all well. So why do people play games in relationships? Why do people play games in relationships? Well, there's a number of reasons why people play games in relationships, and I'm going to get into it. So let me first start off by saying women tend to be better at playing games than men. Women tend to be better at playing games than men. Women tend to have access to the subconscious, almost like the subconscious ether. You know, they're able to access almost like source energy, which allows them to tap into their subconscious a lot more than men in a lot of situations. So they're able to intuitively pick up certain techniques and read certain situations that men are not. Now, men can learn this, but it has to be a learned behavior instead, or it has to be a learnt behavior rather. It has to be a learnt behavior as opposed to something that a lot of men are going to pick up naturally. But that sort of to the side for now. The first reason that people play games in relationships is because predictability is boring. Whether you realize it or not, and I know a lot of men in particular complain about women playing games. Whether you realize it or not, you want her to play games. 9 times out of 10, you want her to play games. You might not realize it on a conscious level, but if she made it too easy for you, you would find it boring. 100%. If she made it too easy for you, you would find it boring. You would find it boring if you sent her a text message and she responded within 30 seconds every single time. You would find it boring if every time you tried to set up a date, you 110% knew she was going to show up. You would find it boring if you knew everything she was doing at every second of the day. So whether you realize it or not, you want her to play games with you. So a reason that people play games in relationships is predictability. Now, a lot of the times why women are allured by the bad boy is because the bad boy almost shows female awareness in the sense that he plays the game back on her. She doesn't know his availability. She doesn't know whether he's going to show up. She doesn't know what his next move is going to be, and that creates tension and excitement. So one reason that games get played by men and women is because predictability is boring. Remember, most people work 9-to-5 jobs. Most people have a daily routine. There's nothing wrong with 9-to-5s, and there's nothing wrong with having a daily routine. Routine is tremendously important to build. They're the building blocks and the foundations for success. But it means that most people, to some degree, find their life slightly boring. So when it comes to relationships and things that you don't have to do but want to do, you don't have to talk to this person but you want to talk to this person, bring in some unpredictability can create excitement, which is in contrast to your day-to-day repetitive routine. So, you know, people play games in relationships and dating because it creates unpredictability, and predictability is boring. The second reason that people play games, and women do this a lot more than men, a lot more, is to weed out weakness, Often, women, because you see men like to pump their chest out. Not all men, but a lot of men like to pump their chest out, make out that they are this great candidate or this great prospective boyfriend. And women have to work out whether it's an act or whether it's for real. Because I walk out I walk out of my house and I see men walking around like they're tough, men trying to show off their masculinity, but they can't all be telling the truth. So women do have a skill and a way of weeding out who's pretending and who's real. So women often do this by, you know, not responding for half a day. See if the man can keep his cool, or see if the man loses it altogether and starts sending 50 messages because she took a while to reply to one. I think women actually do this subconsciously sometimes, and maybe not even consciously doing it. Or if a woman is late to a date, similar, does the man blow up her phone, or does he remain cool under the circumstances? If a woman cancels a date in the last minute, will he lose his cool, or will he remain composed because he's a busy man who can get on with other things? So this is what women want to do. They want to weed out who's for real, and they want to make sure that the guy that they get with is a high value male. But everyone's pretending to be everyone's projecting high value male energy, but who's for real? And women, they don't know. They have to test you. There are psychological games as well. So whether you're going to bring back the bacon, you know, if there's like pizza, I don't know, this is just an example. If there's like pizza or, I don't know, candy or whatever, and I know it sounds like a bit crazy, but say there's like a load of sweets, a load of candy, a load of popcorn or something like that, and you allow someone else to have the last one instead of taking it for yourself if it's offered to you. On a subconscious level, her lizard brain is saying, okay, so he might offer the last bit of food available to another tribe, and therefore our tribe's going to lose and their tribe's going to win. This is in heavy contrast to the etiquette of modern day society, but because we operate with our lizard brain a lot, some of the games that women are playing, maybe tests is a more appropriate word, is based on the old model, because our brain doesn't actually know it's 2024. So a lot of behaviors are contrasting with the etiquette and standards of today. And actually that's a whole separate topic in itself. You know, our brain doesn't actually know it's 2024. So therefore that can cause a clash and confusion and anxiety. And that's why a lot of people have, you know, they feel down, because the brain is receiving mixed messages of what you're meant to do today as a human being, but your brain is still operating thousands of years ago. But maybe that's a whole nother video. But so that's a thing right there. You know, you say like you're with a bunch of friends and a load of her friends, and you're both there, and there's one more crisp left. And you give it to someone else, and instead of taking it for yourself. And so she's testing to see what you will do in certain situations. And her lizard brain is assessing whether you are a strong man with the strong genes to carry on the species. It's crazy, but this is like the mating ritual that we've been doing for thousands of years. But all of that accumulates into the scenario of she's testing you and playing games with you so she can weed out and eliminate the weak men and cross them off, and she can then only entertain the strong men. Now, I don't think men do that as much. They don't. But this is something that women do, and I believe a lot of it isn't subconscious. I don't think a lot of women do this consciously. And it makes sense, because women want the strong genes, but they also want a man who's going to remain composed and calm, because these tests aren't just for the sake of it. they are so that she can predict how you will react in real situations, because in life sometimes you need to be patient. So if she sees that you're acting patient in certain situations, this is going to raise the attraction, because she knows that, say things aren't going well and you and her together 20 years down the line, you're not going to lose it. She might get stressed out, but you being centered and in your core and in your masculine, you're going to remain composed under pressure. And therefore, you're going to be able to be more likely to deliver out of a bad situation instead of losing it. So those are two reasons right there. You know, the one I've just said about women do this more than men, weeding out weakness, and so they only entertain the strong. And the other one, you know, unpredictability is better than predictability. Predictability is boring. So these are two key ones. And another reason the people play games in relationships is because they're not for real. And that I've kind of alluded to that earlier on in this video. They're not for real. So they have nothing going on. And this is a kind of grey sort of point that I'm making here. They play games because they're not for real. They have nothing going on in their life, so everything's a game. They got to fake being busy. This, and I would say this is more men that do this. Fake being busy. Fake having value. Fake having, you know, prospects for the future. Everything's fake, you know. Fake clothes. That's a game in itself. You know, when she messages you, you're like, oh, I'm not going to reply for 4 hours just to show that, you know, that I'm a man. That's a game. You know, you're faking it. You know, pretending that you've got plans for the future, you know, telling a woman what she wants to hear, you know, sweet nothings. These are all games that people play when they've got nothing going on. So everything is a game. But women are very good at finding things out in the end. So if you are faking it, then you better just start faking it till you make it. And the aim is to make it. You like, don't just think this, you're sitting in that seat, you're playing your games, and she's never gonna call your bluff one day, because she will. But, you know, one day she's just going to wake up. She's going to look at you and think, my God, I've been wasting my time with you. And then it's over. So that is another reason people play games, because they're actually got nothing going on. And that leads on to my next point. Should you play games? To a degree, you should. Not in like a immature way, but building a bit of tension in a relationship. And when I say tension, I mean like sort of building unpredictability. That's a better way of saying it. Building a bit of unpredictability in a relationship can create positive tension and excitement. But, you know, playing games just for the sake of playing games, for the most part, is probably a little bit immature. I would say, though, that if you're a man and you have it together, you know, I can't really talk about the woman's side of things, because I can't really relate to those experiences. You know, I don't really want to talk about what I don't know about. But for a man, certainly, if you have it going on, you don't need to play games. You really don't. Like, pretending to be busy, you don't need to do that. You know, because if you are busy, then you don't need to pretend to be busy. Therefore, you don't need to say, ha ha ha, I'm going to reply to her in a day. Like, it's not the plan. You just get back to her when you can. And you can't always get back to people straight away because you're so damn busy. But, so, you know, you should be a man that has his goals, has his dreams, and is busy. And then in a way you're going to mimic, in a way you're going to be acting the same as someone that's playing games, but you're doing it because you're moving with a purpose. So you haven't actually got the time to be responding to people 24/7, whereas the other guy does, but it's pretending that he doesn't. So your energy you're giving off is similar, but you actually have something solid behind it, and there's a reason. So those are my thoughts with regards to, should you, why do people play games? To create tension and unpredictability, to weed out weakness, and to see if someone is for real. Again, that's more on the women's side of things. And then more on the guy side of things, a lot of guys, they try and act, they watch the dating coaches and they try and act like they've got something going on when they actually don't. In my opinion, creating a bit of unpredictability is healthy for a relationship, but ultimately you can't, your whole vibe can't be a game. You have to be for real. And if you are for real, then that in itself is going to keep attraction there. You're not replying to her all the time, but that's because you're working towards your goals, and she knows that. Anyway, let me know what you think about what I said here. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you get a notification when I make a new video. If you appreciate my work and want to leave a donation, there's a link for that in the description. With that, enjoy the rest of your day. See you on the next one.